there's a big chunk of it still hanging, kind of teetering on the edge there. That's it from Chopper 4. We're over Elizabeth, New Jersey.
Let's just reiterate that to the best of our knowledge, we understand that building was not open today. The offices were not open, and no one was inside at the time of that collapse. Is that the information you have?
Yeah, that's correct. The office was closed. As far as we know, the office released that anybody was hurt. There are some people, onlookers there, neighbors, looking at all the debris. But basically, from what we have heard, there were no injuries in this collapse.
All right, Ken, thank you very much. We'll take it back in the studio. We had Barry Bornstein on a little while ago, who was a construction expert who said that if you are the caretaker of a building that has a flat roof, you might want to go up and take a look. We should say that you probably don't want to walk out onto that roof if you can get up on a ladder and at least look to see if there are uneven spots. But judging from the pictures you've just seen, it doesn't pay to get out and actually walk on the roof, because if it is weakened, then you could be in some real trouble.
Dramatic pictures there, and certainly a stroke of luck that that office was closed today, of course, as all state offices, because, Matt, the way it looked to me, someone certainly would have been killed.
Nobody can get there.
Had they been inside there. All right, let's go find out a little bit more of what's going on out on the roadways. Trish Yodice of Shadow Traffic. How's it going?
All right, Jim and Matt. Well, yeah, you've been hearing all morning. And
7 inches. Washington, a record 2, as high as 24 in suburbs. New York, 20. And Pocahontas County in the West Virginia mountains, up to 48 inches. That's 4 feet. Many had never seen so much snow.
Not in my lifetime. Absolutely not.
Travel was treacherous. The 122-mile New Jersey Turnpike, a key north-south link on the East Coast, was deserted. Absolutely deserted, as that state banned all but emergency vehicles from many highways. Hoboken, New Jersey, kept all outsiders out. Greyhound canceled or cut back service in 14 states. Airports staged a losing battle to keep runways open. More than 4,000 flights were canceled. Passengers left stranded at airports and hotels all over the East. Washington's 3 airports closed until sometime tomorrow. New York's 3 also closed until tomorrow. Hartford and Boston airports closed until further notice. Amtrak canceled 55 trains, half its service. In Charleston, West Virginia, one train, unable to get further, unloaded passengers into the cold.
Good Lord. It has been an experience.
98 passengers there taken to a hotel. In Washington, on this day, when the federal government was to at last reopen, the city was closed tightly. 110,000 furloughed government workers forced to stay home yet another day. Congress stayed in session only a few minutes. At the White House, President Clinton's national security advisor had to sleep in his office, unable to get home through the snow. New York City's schools closed for the first time since 1978. The United Nations closed as well. Diplomats of more than 150 nations stayed home. New York, one of the world's great ports, had to shut down shipping in its harbor. And even the mailmen couldn't get through. Deliveries canceled in Washington, Philadelphia, New York, and Boston. Retail forecaster Isaac Lagnano.
We're talking about $1 billion aggregately of lost sales.
And there was damage. In New York, a car of the Long Island Railroad, which normally carries 250,000 passengers into the city, derailed. No one hurt. In Washington, more than 70 passengers had to be rescued after spending 6 hours overnight on a subway car stuck in the snow in freezing temperatures.
There's no heat on it. They like kicked in the heat as they pulled in the station.
The sheer weight of the snow caused rooftops to collapse. This one came down in Elizabeth, New Jersey. And in Clinton, Maryland, the roof of a nursing home collapsed into the dining area. No one was hurt, but 110 bedridden patients had to be evacuated in the bitter cold, many on stretchers, and taken to neighboring hospitals. A storm of staggering proportions. And here along Pennsylvania Avenue and elsewhere, it will take days to dig out in the cold. And now, just in time, more snow is expected toward the end of this week. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
And despite the deep snows in the Capitol, President Clinton, Senate Majority Leader Dole, and Speaker Gingrich were able to resume budget negotiations. Senator Dole says these talks now are at the, quote, make or break stage. This storm hammered villages and cities alike, but in New York it was particularly troublesome. This city, after all, has millions of people, crowded streets, and concrete canyons of skyscrapers. The Department of Sanitation is in charge of snow removal. The man who runs the show is Commissioner John Doherty. His story tonight in his own words.
We got a record. We got a record storm. Yeah. This is definitely the worst, not only from the depth of the snow, but the duration of it and the wind that we've experienced through the night and through today. The wind, we can't seem to get ahead of it. When you have 2.5 feet of snow on the side of the roadway and that wind picks up, you find that it's back in the roadway and you have to go back and re-plow it. We've been plowing since mid-afternoon yesterday. We'll probably plow for the next 24 to 36 hours before we have all the streets in the city opened up. My goal is, after the snowstorm stops, for 100% of the streets in this city to be open for vehicular traffic, then I think we've accomplished an awful lot. So the trick of it is, when you see yourself coming near the corner, raise the plow, bring it up. Over all the years I've been with the department, in a time of an emergency such as snow, you really see what sanitation people are made of. They really turn out, they feel proud of what they do, and they look forward to opening up streets and people saying thanks to them. You wait a lot of years to see a storm like this. When we got the new kids now, this is going to be history. And I told them, remember it, and if you stick around the department long enough, you might get one, and you're going to have to address it. I'll be gone.
One of the problems with New York City, of course, is that there are so few places to dump the snow. They either have to truck it out of Manhattan or just keep moving it around for a few days. Wall Street was open today, but not for long. In a storm-shortened session, the Dow was up in very light trading. The NASDAQ lost a point. When we come back, it's not just the weather that's frightful, it's also the flu.
Is News Channel 4 at 11.
The blizzard of 96 dumps nearly 2 feet of snow on our area. There is no way to get to work or to school. Lives are turned upside down. Now the storm of the century is moving out to sea, and the digging out has begun. Good evening, I'm Carol Jenkins. Tonight, the recovery begins from a record-setting storm.
Well, the fury of the blizzard of 96 is dying down now. It is all over except for the digging out. And here's a look at some of what the storm left in its wake. Times Square usually belongs to impatient cabbies, but tonight it is so deserted people could walk down the middle of the street. Elizabeth, New Jersey, the caved-in rooftop of the State Unemployment Insurance Office. It could have been a tragedy, but the office was closed because of the snow. On the Long Island Railroad, a train with no passengers jumped the track in Great Neck. The few workers inside were not hurt. We have team coverage beginning with meteorologist Janice Huff. Janice?
Thanks, Chuck. The blizzard of 96 is still winding down across New England tonight. All the snow has moved out of our area. But they're still snowing around Boston and up towards Portland, Maine. And they're actually they've got about 25 inches of snow on the ground in Portland, Maine, and some of that from this storm. So it's all moved away from us, and now we're going to get drier conditions tonight and cold temperatures. But the storm left its mark across the area, 2 to 3 feet in many locations, from Staten Island back to central New Jersey. Here in the city, 1 to 2 feet of snow and drifts up to 5 feet. It goes down in the record books as being the third largest snowstorm in history for this area. The only two other storms that were larger, the blizzard of 1888, 21 inches. We came close to getting above that, and 26.4, the all-time snow record of December of 1947. We had 26.5 inches across the area. What's going to happen next? Well, another storm may be developing later on this week. I'll have the details on that. First, I'll let you know how cold it's going to get later on tonight. We'll see some areas down into the single digits. I'll be back with more later. Carol?
Thank you, Janice. Well, tonight the sanitation trucks are out in force trying to dig the city out from under all of this snow. It's been a pitched battle since the early morning hours when the powerful plows could really rip down the avenues. News Channel 4's Tiwa Chang is live now at the city command post, where they've been coordinating the battle all day and into the night. Tiwa.
Well, Carol, we're here at the Command Center Police Headquarters in Lower Manhattan, and just about an hour ago, the mayor and the sanitation commissioner were here, and they announced that the state of emergency in New York City will continue until tomorrow. That means no driving to the city unless you have emergency vehicles, obviously sanitation plows, police, fire, health department, also trucks making food deliveries, etc. Schools will also be closed tomorrow for a record second day in a row. 1 million kids will be at home. Despite 1,400 sanitation trucks plowing around the clock, basically this 2 to 2.5 foot snowfall we've had has crippled much of New York City. The streets of Lower Manhattan during evening rush hour, and 7th Avenue near Times Square at rush hour. 2 feet of snow has crippled the city and either emptied or turned the streets into pedestrian walkways. Tracy Gallagher left work in Midtown and began walking home to Brooklyn.
I found since yesterday that the snow brings out something really nice in people. People are friendlier in New York than I've lived here for almost 10 years. It's the friendliest I've ever seen anybody.
At the Port Authority bus terminal, amidst other stranded passengers, Robert Queen of Rockland County has waited for more than 24 hours for a bus home to Spring Valley.
Eating, using the ATM card.
Manhattan's main streets appeared plowed, though icy, as did most of its side streets. Other boroughs were in worse shape, though. In Staten Island, some main roads were plowed, but the side streets appeared untouched and too much for hand-powered shovels. As the city dug itself out, the big question is, what about the morning rush hour?
The Bronx got 30 inches of snow, which is a record for New York City. Chief Tony Punzi of the Bronx got the Bronx cleaned out today.
There'll be no driving into the city tomorrow because the state of emergency will continue to be in effect. As for buses, the New York City Transit Authority says there'll be full bus service restored by 5 a.m., they hope. And the subways, which have been the best form of transportation so far, in the morning should be back to normal, maybe. There have been problems with the F, B, D, and N north of Stillwell Avenue in Brooklyn, and also the number 7 has had no service from Queensboro Plaza to Times Square. Mayor Giuliani has urged everyone coming into the city tomorrow to use the subways. To know exactly what's running tomorrow morning, watch News Channel 4 at 5 a.m. for a special report. By the way, alternate side street of the parking will be suspended. A final note, Mayor Giuliani and Sanitation Commissioner John Doherty both said that all the streets in New York City, including the side streets and all the boroughs, should be plowed by Wednesday morning. And the mayor said the city will be back to normal by Wednesday and Thursday at the latest. Now, for the latest on the commuter rail lines, let's go to my colleague Linda Laverne, who's in Hicksville, Long Island. Linda?
Tiwa, right now, here's an update for tomorrow morning's rush hour commute on both the bus and rail lines. First of all, Long Island Railroad, there is no service out of Penn Station into Jamaica. However, the Long Island Railroad is offering free transfers between those 2 points on the E subway line. Service will be on a Sunday schedule that's approximately 1 train an hour on the Babylon, Port Jefferson, and Ronkonkoma branches only. From Metro North, there will be local service only on trains running every hour or so on all 3 lines, Harlem, Hudson, and New Haven. Over in New Jersey, the rail lines will be on a Saturday schedule, and that will be including the Pascack Valley and Boonton lines. For bus service, they say they're going to be operating on a regular weekday schedule. We'll see how they do with the roads out there. However, there is a note to that. There will be 6 lines running on a Saturday schedule. Those lines are the 154, 156, 158, 159, 321, and 128. And what that means is that tomorrow, commuters will have a difficult time once again. The trains arrived only sporadically on the Long Island Railroad, and when they did, they came mostly empty. It seems most people heeded the warning to stay at home during this blizzard of 96. Those who had to work tackled lengthy delays.
It's been crazy. I spent 7 hours here last night waiting for a train. And finally, I got the next train going east that took me back to my hometown. I stayed there, and I'm going to try again to go to Central Islip.
Service was eventually limited to 3 lines running diesel trains, no electricity, the Babylon, Port Jefferson, and Ronkonkoma branches. Service was cut off from Penn Station into Jamaica.
I'm just lucky that I'm in Hicksville and my train happens to be working. I mean, this is one of 3, I think, that are left actually running. So I'm lucky that I can get anywhere.
But commuters traveling by surface had a more difficult journey. They have to conquer the compacted snow, which is quickly turning to ice. That made traveling by bus slow and dangerous. Snowplows tried to help by clearing some roads, but they're no match for the pounding we received from Mother Nature. So for those of you, although the blizzard is over, for those of you traveling tomorrow morning during the rush hour, it will still mean only very limited service. Reporting live in Hicksville, Long Island, I'm Linda Laverne. Back to you.
Linda, thank you. Now here is the latest on the airports. Kennedy could be open by noon tomorrow. LaGuardia a little bit later in the day. And crews are scrambling to clean up Newark Airport because it is scheduled to open somewhere around noon as well. Some runways still have snowdrifts as high as 20 feet. Port Authority officials say they hope that by early afternoon, all 3 local airports will be open for takeoffs and landings.
Well, the end of the storm means the end of the state of emergency in New Jersey at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. Traffic that had been banned on New Jersey roads will resume. Many New Jersey towns are struggling to return to normal, and New Jersey reporter Sue Keenan is in Belmar. Sue.
Carol, all along the Jersey shore, the water behind me posed the greatest danger, threatening to flood the entire oceanfront area. While flooding was minimal, and as you can see, the water behind me is tranquil now. Environmentalists believe the severe shifting of the sands by the high winds may have caused the greatest damage that won't be clear until the snow is gone. That's not likely to happen anytime soon. Along the Jersey Shore, volunteer firefighters race to a different kind of emergency. Hydrants buried in drifts several feet high. They are racing to avoid a tragedy.
Concern just is if we have any fires at night, we'll be able to locate the hydrants, so we have to go out and dig them out.
Other priority calls here, heart attacks. Rescue workers say are often caused by the kind of physical stress heavy drifts like these can cause. The heavy winds that piled the snow high here have now subsided. The residents evacuated 24 hours ago under the threat of coastal flooding have returned.
We got kind of lucky. The wind shifted around right before the high tide.
But cabin fever has infected these resort residents in a big way.
We came uptown because we were tired of staying in the house.
Mother Nature has blessed upon us a 4-day weekend, and we're taking full advantage of it.
Police fear all the hijinks may interfere with important work.
It's a little bit of a carnival atmosphere, you know. I mean, this much snow, but we have to try to keep a reality base here. We do have a public safety function we have to provide for, and that means we have to plow the streets and keep them clear. So if people could stay home, I'd really appreciate it.
Well, following orders which remain in effect to stay off the roads, preferably indoors, are awfully hard for beach residents, unless, of course, it is a below-freezing night. Like tonight, it is very quiet out here at this hour. Now, local emergency management officials want residents along the shore to know that if they believe they have a fire hydrant on their block that is buried, to call the local fire department. They will come and dig it out. They also want residents who have dug out their cars to make sure they are parked off the road so that plowing can continue. And as for residents who want help digging out those cars, we're told to pass on the word, you're on your own. Reporting live from the Jersey Shore, Sue Keenan, News Channel 4.
Thank you, Sue, very much. And we want to remind you that school will be closed tomorrow in New York City, and I would guess everywhere else in the metropolitan area. One more snow day to find something to do with your kids. We will be back with more news in just a minute after these important phone numbers.
Now, although Mayor Giuliani singled out the Bronx, many residents here beg to differ. They want to know when the city will remember them. Julio Apiles had planned to spend the evening dining out with friends. Instead, he found himself digging out with them. Like many Bronx residents, Apiles was singing the Side Street Blues.
My car broke over here. I had to left it over here, overnight because nobody was able to give me a booster. You go to Manhattan, you see all the side street there cleaned out. You coming around the Bronx, you see how many problems we have.
I guess they just don't care about these small streets, It's just, they used to throw salt, clean it up. Not anymore.
Throughout the Bronx, as throughout the city, side street after side street looked like this, untouched and unplowed. Along Webster Avenue, cars remain buried in drifts several feet high. And off Fordham Road, even a plow truck and salt spreader with chains on its tires got stuck on a street plows hadn't touched. Snow drifts even forced the driver of this EMS truck to abandon his van. As for driving in the mess, some motorists found the going tough in their neighborhoods and wondered why.
No salt, no sand, it's very slippery, it's ridiculous. What is the city doing about this?
And behind me you can see some of the cars that are literally buried under mounds of snow. Some of these drivers have been trying to get out. Earlier tonight, this car here was abandoned by the driver. He just finally gave up. Now, the city is saying that it plans to target these side streets, especially here on Valentine Avenue in the Bronx, as early as tomorrow, and residents are waiting to see. Reporting live from the Bronx, I'm Chuck Gomez. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Chuck, thank you. The blizzard of '96 has been an epic storm of historic proportions. It is our news around the nation tonight.
The huge blizzard roared from Kentucky north to Boston, affecting 100 million Americans, nearly 40% of the nation's population. The depths were stunning. Philadelphia was hit with a record 30 inches. Newark, a record 27 inches. The nation's capital, a record 2, as much as 24 inches. New York City had more than 20 inches. And Pocahontas County in West Virginia, 48 inches, 4 feet. Many had never seen so much snow.
Not in my lifetime. Absolutely not.
Travel was treacherous everywhere. The New Jersey Turnpike was deserted. Greyhound canceled or cut back service in 14 states. More than 4,000 flights were canceled, stranding passengers everywhere. Washington's 3 airports closed until sometime tomorrow. So did New York's 3 airports. Hartford and Boston airports are closed until further notice. Amtrak canceled 55 trains, half its service. In Charleston, West Virginia, one train got stuck and unloaded its passengers into the cold.
Good Lord. It has been an experience.
In Washington, Congress stayed in session only a few minutes. At the White House, the president's national security advisor couldn't get home, so he slept in his office. Even mailmen couldn't get through. Deliveries were canceled in Washington, Philadelphia, New York, and Boston. But there was one special delivery that couldn't be stopped in Beantown. Triplets, born in the middle of the blizzard.
Wow, and it's their birthday. We'll never forget our little blizzard babies.
The babies weighed in at almost 6 pounds each, and the doctors say they are almost ready to go home if they can get there.
Wow. Well, no school, no work. What's a snow-stranded person to do? Joe Avalar has the answer ahead, plus a look at Janice's forecast.
A long time before we forget the blizzard of 96, but what's in store for us by the end of the week? I'll have the details coming up for you next in forecast, but first, a look at tonight.
Inches. Greenberg got 24. Westchester digs out tonight. News Channel 4's Joe Avalar is live in White Plains, where the dig out has already begun. Joe, you've been there a long time.
Oh, been here all day long, and people have been digging all day long. But I want to show you really why. Everybody's been talking all show, but I want to show you why it's so dangerous to get out here and drive. Let's just get down. This is one of the cleanest streets in White Plains right now, right here at Hamilton Avenue. You can see that this is actually packed snow. Underneath this snow is ice. I've been watching four-wheel drive cars and all kinds of other cars come through here and skid all over the place. And this, again, is one of the better roads in Westchester County. Well, we've been driving around, and this is what we found.
The streets of White Plains are empty. Most everyone's gone inside, but there's plenty of snow out here, even more snow on the side streets, great piles of it. Now, some people, like Joseph Lotz, have been stuck outside working at it. He's been shoveling a walkway for an hour.
You having a good time?
No. Just no.
Yeah.
This husband and wife are digging out her car. She's got to go to work in the morning, and they want to make sure she does.
Tomorrow's going to be frozen, so...
Right.
I want to wait till then. It's going to be mighty.
So are you going to try to dig out this whole pile now?
I'm just going to get it out and just, I guess, put it right there, you know, so I don't, obstruct anybody.
Now, this is the way to go, a plow service. Edmund O'Connell has been plowing since Sunday morning, and as of 9 p.m., he's still at 50 houses to go.
A lot of people hate this weather.
Oh, jeez, who likes it, you know?
You love it, don't you?
No, seriously, I don't. Well, then check this out. When O'Connell can't plow, he moves snow the old-fashioned way, with a shovel, and he does it with gusto.
I've been doing this 35 years. I've never seen this much snow.
Well, we're back here live, and this is some of the snow that's got to be moved. These are the great piles of snow that we've been talking about. They've been plowing this all day long, and from what's in Hamilton Avenue, it's ended up here. A lot of snow. And I'm king of the hill. How about that? I'm Joe Avalar reporting live. Back to you.
Joe, you know getting down's a lot harder than getting up.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, Chuck.
Good luck. All right, it's time now for Janice with the latest look at the weather.
Well, at least somebody's having fun out there, right? And leave it to Joe Avalar to have fun out in the mounds of snow that have been left over by this humongous blizzard, the blizzard of 96. Well, it's over now, at least in terms of the snowfall. It has moved away, but let's look at some statistics for you, some records. Right now, it's 19 degrees. We have partly cloudy skies. The storm has moved away from us now, and we expect that to be the case. It's not going to be back, not this one, but we may see another one come our way. Winds out of the northwest at 7 miles per hour. Relative humidity 45%. The barometer rising to 9.71. The high today 23, low 16. 7 inches of snow fell at Central Park today, and added on to what we got yesterday was 20.6 is what they ended up with. 20.6 inches of snow for the season so far. It's 37.3 inches. Normal season, we get about 28 for the entire winter, so we're well above that now. The snowiest season recorded at Central Park was that winter of 1947-48 when you had the blizzard right after Christmas, 63.2 inches. And as I mentioned, continue to break daily records. Yesterday, a daily record was set, and so is today, with 7 inches of snow. And January 1996 comes in as the 4th snowiest January on record with 22.9 inches. All right now, the temperatures in the teens and 20s to pan down to 11 degrees. Factor in the wind. It feels like 0 right now. Wind chill values in the single digits, well below 0 down through central sections of New Jersey tonight. And right now you can see across much of the Northeast, it is bitterly cold as the storm is moving away. And now behind that, we're getting northwest winds, dry winds, but cold winds coming in through the area. But I tell you what, we're not the only ones affected by this change in the weather, because all the way down south into Florida tonight, temperatures will drop down to the 20s in North Florida. Freeze warnings are in effect there, and even just north of Miami, where readings will be in the 30s, they're going to get some frost tonight. So we're not the only ones being affected by the storm. We can see that back to the west, it's a little bit better in terms of what's going on in terms of the colder temperatures. No problems for us here. The storm has moved away, and tonight it continues to move out to sea. We're seeing clearing skies, and we're going to see cold temperatures tonight with all that snow cover that's in place, and the clearing skies and the cold northwest wind. Look for a lot of areas down to the single digits. Arctic temperatures in the morning, and then a very weak storm pulls through Canada will bring us some light snow showers tomorrow evening. Snow will be back, but not nearly to the extent of what we saw with the blizzard. Maybe 1 inch accumulation by tomorrow night. Tonight's temperatures single digits and teens, and mostly clear skies. For tomorrow, look for highs in the teens to mid-20s and maybe some snow showers in the evening, but we'll have some sunshine most of the day. The 5-day forecast showing for temperatures in the 20s through Thursday, but we'll have sun, and by Friday, unfortunately, our computer models are telling us we may get another snowstorm. How much will it bring? Can't tell you that now. We'll keep you posted and watch it carefully. Chuck Carroll, thanks.
In Washington, the budget talk.